You know how every school has its secrets? At Northwood High, the darkest one is locked behind the door to room 333. The story goes that decades ago, a student in that very classroom just vanished. Now they say his ghost is still in there, just waiting for the final bell, and for anyone dumb enough to sit at his old desk. Even before the ghost showed up, the air in room 333 was thick with that special odor of chalk dust and teenage boredom. For Maya, Leo, Chloe, and Ben, it was the absolute last place they wanted to be on the last day of school. An hour ago, the rest of Northwood High had exploded into summer vacation, and you could still hear their happy screams faintly through the walls. But for this unlucky group, freedom was still an hour away, stuck in detention with the incredibly dull Mr. Harrison. Maya, ever the practical one, was trying to get a head start on her summer reading. Across from her, Chloe was glued to her phone, putting on her best, "I've been wrongfully imprisoned" face for a series of selfies. And Ben, quiet as usual, was just sketching in a notebook, his eyes constantly scanning the room like he could see the history peeling off the walls with the paint. And then, of course, there was Leo. "I'm gonna do it," he said, a grin spreading across his face. He jerked a thumb toward the back of the classroom, at a single dusty desk sitting all by itself. The vanishing desk. "Don't be an idiot, Leo," Maya said, not even looking up from her book. "It's just a stupid story." "Is it?" Ben whispered, his pencil stopping mid-stroke. "They say his name was Thomas Weaver. He was sitting right there in 1978. One minute he was there, and the next, just an empty chair." Chloe's head popped up from her phone, suddenly interested. "Ooh, that's creepy. Leo, film it. This could go viral." Ignoring Maya's sigh, Leo swaggered to the back of the room. He made a big show of wiping the dust off the desk. "Hello, Thomas," he said to the empty chair. "Hope you don't mind if I borrow your seat." He dropped into the chair, which let out a pained groan. For a second, nothing happened. Leo's grin got wider. "See? Nothing. Just a creaky old desk." Just then, Mr. Harrison stood up. "All right, I've got to run some papers to the office. Don't burn the place down." The heavy door clicked shut behind him, leaving them completely alone. As the setting sun cast long, creepy shadows across the room, Leo's triumphant grin started to fade. The silence that fell after Mr. Harrison left was heavier, more absolute. All the normal school sounds, like the hum of the lights or the clatter in the hall, just seemed to stop. "Okay, I think my butt's getting cold," Leo said, shifting in the chair. "Seriously, it feels like I'm sitting on a block of ice." "It's called a draft, Leo," Maya shot back, but even she could feel it. A weird drop in temperature, a pocket of cold that seemed to be spreading from that back corner. Chloe, always creating content, had her phone out, recording. Guys? Look at this." She played back a little clip she'd just taken. As the camera passed over Leo, a tiny, glowing orb of light zipped right past his head and then vanished. "It's a lens flare," Maya said, but she didn't sound so sure of herself. Then they all heard it. A soft sound that made them freeze. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was coming from Leo's desk. He shot up out of the chair, his face pale. "Did you guys hear that?" Ben nodded slowly, his eyes huge. "Thomas. The stories always said he was an artist. Always doodling. They say you can sometimes still hear him drawing." The scratching stopped. The main lights flickered. Once, twice, then they started buzzing like a dying insect. A wave of cold air washed over them, way too strong to be a draft. It brought a musty smell with it, like old paper and forgotten things. The sunny afternoon outside suddenly felt a million miles away. The room was its own little bubble, getting colder and darker by the second. They weren't just kids in detention anymore. They were intruders, and the final bell felt impossibly far away. A loud click echoed through the room. Maya ran to the door and yanked on the handle. It wouldn't move. "It's locked," she whispered, her voice tight with panic. They were trapped. "Okay. This stopped being funny a long time ago," Chloe said, her hand shaking as she waved her phone's flashlight around the now darkening room. "We need to get out. The ghost doesn't want us to leave," Ben said grimly, staring at the desk. "Not until we understand. We have to figure out what Thomas wants." Fear gave way to adrenaline, and they all rushed to the desk. Leo, forcing himself to be brave, ran his hands over the top and felt something snag his fingers. "Hey, there's something under here," he said. They pried at a loose piece of wood and found a shallow, hidden compartment. Carved into the wood inside was a drawing of an eye and a set of numbers. 811.3 WEA. "That's a library call number?" Maya breathed, her eyes darting around the room until they landed on a dusty old bookshelf in the corner. While Ben and Maya scrambled to the shelf, Leo and Chloe stood guard, their flashlights cutting nervous slices through the gloom. The scratching sound was back, louder this time, like it was coming from inside the walls. A textbook suddenly shot off a nearby desk and crashed to the floor. 811 poetry, Maya muttered, running a finger along the book's spines. Weaver. Her fingers found a thin, worn-out book of poetry. As she pulled it out, a single folded piece of yellowed paper fluttered to the floor. Ben snatched it up and carefully unfolded it. It was another drawing in the same style as the carved eye. It was a picture of the classroom, but this one showed the clear outline of a hidden panel in the wall, right behind the teacher's desk. In the corner was a date, October 27th, 1978. The day Thomas Weaver disappeared. The second they understood the drawing, the room plunged into total darkness. The emergency light over the door flickered on for a horrifying second, throwing monster-sized shadows on the walls before it died with a pathetic sizzle. Chloe screamed. The cold wasn't just a pocket anymore. It was deep in their bones, sucking the air right out of their lungs. And then they saw him. Over by the haunted desk, a faint light began to gather. It swirled and twisted, slowly taking the shape of a teenage boy. He was see-through, dressed in clothes from the 70s, his edges shimmering like a heat haze. His eyes were wide and empty, filled with a sadness so deep it felt like a physical weight in the room. It was the air crackled, and a low moan of pure despair filled the space, vibrating right through their chests. The ghost of Thomas lifted a shaky, ghostly hand and pointed directly at the wall behind Mr. Harrison's desk. The message couldn't be clearer. "The panel," Maya gasped. "We have to open it." Leaving Leo and Chloe huddled by the door, Maya and Ben scrambled to the front of the room, feeling their way along the wall in the dark. "Here!" Ben yelled, his fingers finding the faint edge of the panel. As they dug their nails into the crack, the room exploded. Books flew off the shelves. Desks scraped across the floor on their own. The moaning grew into a wail of pure agony. Through it all, Maya and Ben pulled. With a loud crack, a section of the wall swung open, revealing a dark, tight space behind it. Maya reached inside and her hand hit a small metal box. She pulled it out. It was an old lunchbox. With trembling hands, she unlatched it. Inside was a small, leather-bound diary. Flipping to the last entry, dated October 27th, 1978, Maya aimed her phone's flashlight at the page and read the spidery handwriting aloud. "They won't stop," she read. "They locked me in the kiln room yesterday. Today, they said they'd be waiting for me after school. I can't take it anymore. Grandpa told me about the spot he built when he was a janitor here. A place to hide. I'm going to vanish. I'll wait until everyone is gone, then leave this town forever." Maya took a shaky breath and read the last panicked lines. "The latch. It broke. I can't get it to open. It's stuck. It's so hard to breathe in here. Somebody, please, "Help me." As Maya's voice died out, a heavy silence fell over the room. The chaos just stopped. Every eye went to the spectral figure of Thomas Weaver. The terrifying energy was gone, replaced by a crushing wave of sadness. His see-through form flickered, and for a second, it looked like a single ghostly tear ran down his cheek. He wasn't a monster. He was just a lost, lonely kid who was the victim of a horrible accident. The ghost looked from the diary in Maya's hands to the four of them. There was no anger left in his eyes, just a quiet, tired thank you. His story was finally known. He raised his arm one last time, not at the wall, but at the classroom door. With a soft click, the lock popped open. The door swung inward, revealing the dim, safe light of the empty hallway. As they watched, the ghost of Thomas Weaver began to fade away. Not all at once, but slowly, like smoke dissolving on the wind, until all that was left was the lingering cold and the memory of his sad eyes. The oppressive weight in the room vanished. Shaken, but safe, the four of them grabbed the diary and stumbled out of room 333, leaving the cursed desk and its tragic secret behind forever. The clock on the hallway wall read 5:01 p.m. The next day, the students gave the diary to the principal. A look at the old-school blueprints confirmed the hidden compartment, and the story of the boy who vanished was finally set straight. The school officially acknowledged the tragic death of Thomas Weaver, a student who had been failed by everyone who should have protected him. A small plaque was put up outside room 333 with his name on it. The haunting stopped. The cold spots were gone, and the scratching fell silent. The legend of the angry ghost was replaced by the tragic story of Thomas Weaver. The room was eventually closed and is now just used for storage. But sometimes, when the halls are quiet and the sun is going down, students walking past swear they can still hear a faint sound from inside. A soft, gentle scratching. A quiet reminder that some secrets, once they're buried, never really go away. There are stories like this hiding in dark corners all over the world. If you want to hear more of them, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You never know what secrets are waiting to be uncovered.